Hey guys, welcome back to The Awakening Artist. My name is Dana, and today I'm going to share with you guys 3 simple steps to open a ceremony or a ritual of creativity around your creative practice. And this is going to help you guys tap into a highly aligned channeling state when you go to create something and heighten your productivity so that you're essentially able to do like 5 times the amount of work in half the time. So stick around to the end of the video and you're going to learn those 3 steps, and let's get into it. So the first step in opening a ceremony for your work is understanding what it means to be entering into a channeling state and also how to set a container for your work. So we're artists, right? We're creatives. When we go to channel something, we're going in front of our chosen medium. We're going in front of our canvas, our song, our writing, our cooking, whatever it is that we're doing. And we're essentially becoming very present with what we're doing. And we're opening ourselves to be able to channel in higher energies, channel in the true art and the true creativity that is aligned with our soul and our spirit. So the first step is to understand what it means to create a channeling container for yourself. And in order to understand that, we're going to talk about what does it mean when we channel with our work, okay? So everyone channels. Whether or not we're fully conscious of that is a different story, but channeling is essentially when you are so present in the moment with something that you lose track of time. And you may feel the presence of certain energies moving through you. Your thoughts kind of quiet. And you are fully present with this process of creation, okay? And to give you an example of like, if it's like, oh, well, what does that mean? Like, when do I access that channeling state? You can access it when you're in the shower, when you feel the hot water on your face, or even when you're driving down the road and you're listening to a song and you just start kind of like zoning out and vibing out and you get lost in it. That means you're starting to enter into a channeling state. And so as artists, as creatives, we can consciously approach this channeling state by setting a container for the work and bringing prayer and reverence into the process, especially if it's part of our intention. Maybe you're a spiritual artist. If it's part of your intention to channel in higher frequencies, channel in the work that is aligned with your higher self, allowing energies to move through you, which, arguably that's all we're really doing as artists anyway, is we're opening ourselves up to source energy, to higher frequency channels, information, energies, beings to move through us to bring a massive amount of light into the world through our own unique lens. So now that we understand what channeling is in its essence, we can talk about how we want to set up a ceremony or a ritual for that work to heighten the channel, okay? So I'm just going to start by giving you guys an example with my work. So I'm a painter. I have my studio in my house, and this is a place that I can go back to like every time I go into my studio, it's in a space of reverence and prayer. So I would highly recommend you guys, whatever your creative practice is, if you can find a stationary place in your home that you consistently go back to when you choose to channel, that's going to really help you out. Because when we are consistently channeling in a certain space, it sort of creates a grid around us in our environment. So when I step into my studio and I'm consistently channeling in this one specific space, then I can enter back into that channel very quickly. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to have like a studio or a whole room designed for this. It can just be a certain place where it's like, this is stationary. This is the place that you go to channel. So if you can have a room, that's great, but if not, totally not needed as well. So now that we've established that your channeling container is going to be one space in your home that you can consistently go back to, let's talk about how to set up a container around this space. So the first thing that I like to think about is you want to have this be a private experience with yourself. So if you live with your family, maybe let them know, you're going to go into this other room. You don't want to be disturbed for an hour, a couple of hours. Turn your phone on airplane mode. Like, sort of block out the world, because this allows you to be fully present with the energies that are moving through you, and you can feel free to express yourself in any way that you need to without being worried about being pulled out of the channel or someone seeing you and thinking you're weird or whatever it is. So create some boundaries around your work and create a safe container in that way. So next we want to talk about, how do we clear and charge this space, and what tools can we bring in to help us enter into a channeling state. So I'll share from my personal practice with my work what I find extremely helpful. And again, this is just me. You can bring in any kind of sacred healing tools. They don't even have to be sacred healing tools. They can just be anything that really resonates with you and inspires you. You want to surround yourself with those things. So for me, I like to go into the studio space and burn some copal or burn some sage, burn some kind of smoke that's going to help lift the energy and clear the space. Maybe from my previous channeling that I did, it kind of just refreshes the energy. So if you want to get some kind of incense or smoke, that can be very helpful. But you can also work with sprays, or even just set the intention to lift the energy, to clear the space, and to start on a fresh slate. Next, we want to bring in tools of the elements. So if you can bring in maybe some roses or some flowers or some kind of earth elements, rocks, crystals, anything of the earth that's going to help charge this space. It helps to anchor in the creative channel and help to sanctify and create a movement of energy within your space. So I like to paint with a big bundle of flowers and roses next to me, and I have crystals on my easel. And this helps to just keep the channel intact and keep the channel clear. So now that we are in a steady, safe space that we're not going to be disturbed, we've cleared the energy of the space, we've brought in our healing tools. Now, the third step is what I like to call opening and closing prayers. So prayer and intention, I find in a creative practice, is so pivotal, because when we're, if we try to just dive into our creative practice, like we roll out of bed and then we're like, all right, I don't know what the fuck, I'm just gonna throw some shit on the canvas right now, or I'm gonna just see what comes through. Sometimes that might work, but in my experience, it can lead me to not approaching this beautiful sacred channeling experience that I get to have with my medium in a space of reverence. And it makes it easier for me to just kind of slip into lower energies and drag it out. And then I start messing the painting up and all these things. So when we use our free will and our intention to set the container and to call in certain frequencies and energies that we want to work with, then it's a complete game changer in our work. And to give you an example, before I really started creating ceremony and ritual around my work and setting this container, like I said, I would kind of just go into the studio, maybe have some coffee or some tea and just okay, I need to get to work, right? But then my channels would be closed. What would take me now a couple of days to create would probably have taken me weeks to a month to make. And so once I started to learn, okay, if I set the container, if I set the space and I approach this in a space of reverence and prayer, and I call in the frequencies that I want to bring forward, then I found very quickly I would just drop into this channeling state. And I was able to get 5-10 times the amount of work done in 2 to 3 hours than I would in weeks of not approaching this with reverence, okay? And what I mean by reverence is really just intention. So an opening and closing prayer that you guys can use, that is one of my personal favorites, is, so I light a candle and I have this, it's a white kind of, I think of it as a holy candle, okay? But it can be If you want to use a candle, great. If you don't, great. It's really just the intention. So I like to light a candle, and my opening prayer is I say a prayer to the muse. I'm just gonna do it because it's weird to talk about it. I'm just gonna do it, okay? So I light the candle and I say, calling in the divine feminine essence of creation, calling in the divine masculine essence of creation, and calling in the inner child essence of creation. Calling in the muse, may the muse work with me and through me to bring in the highest channel of energy for this beautiful painting. May this channel remain open and blessed and clear. Thank you. Okay, so it can be something as simple as that, and you can use that verbatim if you want to, or you can kind of make it your own. But the practice that works for me is calling in and honoring the different aspects of self that go into the creative process. And for me, that is the three main archetypal aspects of my innermost being, which is the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and the inner child. And I find that when I call those three parts of creation into the space, then I'm able to function and I'm able to flow working with those energies of creation. So the feminine can come through and bring her sensuality and her magic. The masculine can come in and bring structure and order and analysis. And the child can come in with play and spontaneity. So that's my simple process of calling in these, I call them the essences of creation. But also a big part in that is calling in the muse. And so who is the muse? What is the muse? The muse is the creative force of energy that moves through all creations of the universe on this physical plane. Okay, so you think about like in art history, these artists would maybe have a woman who, oh, she is my muse, right? What they're really saying there is, this is my idea of this beautiful feminine creatrix, and I want to pay homage and honoring to the feminine creatrix energy. Okay, so when we call in and work with the muse, she's able to come through us. She knows exactly what we truly want to say and want to create, and what would be in the highest good to come through our own unique channel, and she can help usher that in with us. Okay, so calling in the essences of creation within and also without, calling in the muse, you're gonna feel the energy shift. All of a sudden you're like, oh wow, okay, I'm firing on all cylinders here. Like, wow, this is an intense, I call it an intense channel. And so once you are, you've been creating, doing your thing for a couple of hours, and I can make a whole other video on that, because bringing in music and movement and just giving yourself permission to step into this channel to create, that's really the most important part. But when you feel the channel is complete and you're done for the day, it's important to then pay homage and respect to the channel that was opened, and also close it, or else you're gonna find yourself like channeling and buzzing and getting all these downloads through the day. So at the end of the session, what I will do is I'll stand in front of the painting and I'll just reflect on it and connect with it for a bit. I keep doing this because I'm thinking about, like, I would be holding the candle in front of the painting, and a simple closing prayer can be something like, thank you to all of the guides and angels and the essences of creation and the muse for being present in this channeling session today. May this channel of creativity in this way be closed for today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I blow out the candle. And then I kind of just reset the space and walk away, close the door, and allow that channel to remain strong where it is. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Just as a quick recap, The 3 steps are to find a space where you can consistently go to. You can set some boundaries around your creative time with yourself, turn off your phone, disconnect in order to connect. Then setting up and clearing the space, bringing in your sacred healing tools, giving yourself permission to have, a couple of hours to create undisturbed, and then doing your opening and closing prayers. So if you guys found this helpful and you would like to see more videos on the creative process, click the little subscribe doodad thing, and I'll see you next time.